Welcome to Personal Financial Management. Your host is Gary Johnson. And you may ask, well, what is my certification? Well, my certification is common sense because this is as basic as it gets. Meet Herbert. He's frustrated because he gets stranded a lot. The only thing he never learned about driving was the relationship between where he wants to go and the fuel in the car. So when he drives the car, he's never sure how far the car will go. When it comes to driving, this sounds very stupid. When applied to personal finances, it's very common. Consider your finances as buckets of water. Water flows into your income bucket. From that income bucket, you take care of your financial obligations. And also that income bucket can fund your savings bucket. And should the financial obligations bucket run dry, you can draw from your savings to replenish that bucket. This could be considered as financial harmony. The opposite of harmony is dissonance. And this occurs when all of a sudden your obligations require that you can no longer take anything from your income and put it into savings. This is the first sign of financial dissonance. If financial dissonance continues and your financial obligations bucket runs dry, that's when you say hello to Mr. Loner. He comes along and he says, "I'm here to help." Notice the savings bucket now is faded and out of sight, out of mind. This is when you enter the debt cycle. Your income is servicing your financial obligations, and Mr. Loner has stepped in to help, and he also is helping you with your financial obligations. Savings is no longer in the picture. And if you notice the small arrow at the bottom, Mr. Loner, he just wants a little bit to help you out. So now what we have is we have the debt cycle to ruin because your income now is just servicing Mr. Loner. Your financial obligations have gone into default, and he doesn't care. And he looks at his clock and he says, time to pay up. Back to Herb, all he knows is where he wants to go. If spending is based only on want to have, what you have will evaporate. That's a guarantee. Let's take a gander at the three financial domains. 1 is no income, 2 is income or your assets, and 3 is spending. There are people that live for an extended period of time or possibly a lifetime in the domain of no income. This exists, but it's beyond the scope of this presentation. As for the domain of income, there is nothing therein that will lead to financial ruin. Only the domain of spending has a potential for financial ruin. The internet has a definition for the golden rule of money. And it goes like this. If you always spend less than you earn, your finances will always be in good shape. Understand the difference between needs and wants, live within your income, and don't take any unnecessary debt. Well, duh. Well, let's complicate this golden rule of money with some math. There's a point to this. Let's create 4 variables. Always good shape, spending, earning, and financial ruin. The ASG, or always good shape, or financial ruin, those are results, so they take care of themselves. E, on the other hand, that's fairly simple to determine. Most people know what they either have in the bank or what's on a check stub. It's S. the spending that many people have no idea, and Mr. Lender just loves them. The bottom line is this. There are thousands of books, seminars, software, tools, etc. under the heading of personal financial management. All kinds of steps, keys, rules, etc. If you don't know what you, first of all, spent and how it affects or affected what you to have, there's no program, budget, or tool that's going to work. I'm going to present here the most cost-effective personal financial management system possible. If you go to Walmart and you pick yourself up 24 beautiful yellow elementary school pencils with soft erasers and a nice spiral-bound notebook, you can have those for less than $4. What you do is you go to page 1, you put a line down the middle of the page, and you make one column income, and the other column spending. If you have $1,000 in assets and you spend $100, you now have $900 of assets. If you spend $124 more, that goes down to $776. Spend $150, takes you down to $626. Spend $95 more, you're down to $531, but let's say $300 of income comes in. You're up to $831, but then you have to spend $200 more, you're down to $631. The old jalopy let you down, and you need to pay $500 for a car repair. Now you're down to $131. Now you come to the point to where you'd like to spend $200. That's going to take you down into the red. Knowing your spending, knowing when you go into the red. And that's what this is all about. It's that simple. If that $200 is an absolute necessity, an emergency, you got to go in the red. You got to figure out how to get back out of it. But if that $200 is spending the weekend at the beach, you don't do it. It's just that simple. You wait until some more money comes in, and then you can spend some more. The point of this incredibly simple system is it lets people know where they're at. Most people just hand out a credit card. And then, all of a sudden, they know they're in the red because a tow truck shows up to the front of their house and takes their car. Or they get that default letter in the mail, and they go, what happened? This is the simplest way to know when you're in the red and how to get back out of it. The subject of personal financial management would be remiss if it didn't talk about catastrophe. What is catastrophe? Well, as in this slide, it says it's a monumentous tragic event ranging from extreme misfortune to utter overthrow or ruin. Catastrophe is real and it comes out of nowhere. Catastrophe reduces one's focus to survival. Management of anything is to fulfill a need moment to moment. None of the above applies to catastrophe. This reminds me of a story of a man I worked with years ago named Charlie. One Friday afternoon, Charlie went home sick. That was unusual for Charlie. And that night, Charlie was admitted to the hospital, and within 8 weeks, he had succumbed to aggressive pancreatic cancer. His wife worked at the same company that I did, and she told me that over that short period of time, medical costs exceeded $2 million. Now, the gold lining in that story is that they had some insurance to help them, but many people don't. And fires, tornadoes, floods, medical issues, and more can lead to total ruin, and you just have to rebuild. So what is not a catastrophe? Well, I think this slide sums it up. Buying the car you think you deserve, but you can't afford. Well, that's it, and thank you for your time.